Hello, and thanks again for attending our event, Learn with the Nerds on Power Virtual Agents. We had a great event this month, and I'm excited to share with you some of our frequently asked questions and answers that came from the event. Obviously, we streamed an event through YouTube. It's a little difficult, even though we had several instructors there answering questions to catch them all. And so I wanted to follow up with a video covering some of the most frequently asked questions from the event. So, to begin, our first question, which we get at all of our events, is how do I access the recordings? Now, we did record this live via YouTube, so the YouTube automatically does record our live event. But as you may guess, in a 3 hour event, there's some topics that we're not able to cover. And so I want to share with you how you could access our completed version of this course, so that way you're able to see everything that is entailed within inside the Power Virtual Agents course. So, if you're interested in watching the full course, I'm going to direct you to sign up for a trial of our on demand training. So, let's take a look at how you can do that. I'm actually on our site, and you can see the URL up top here. This URL is specifically to take you to our trial page for the Power Virtual Agent in a Day class. And this gives you access to 60 courses for 7 days. But the Power Virtual Agent, as well as Dashboard in a Day and Power Apps in a Day courses, those are available to you free forever and never expire. So you simply fill out the form on that URL that I just showed you here up top. And once you fill this out, it'll sign you up to be able to watch this course forever. So it's a great way to get started. Okay? All right. The next question that we had that was a common one that came up is, do I need CDS, or the Common Data Service, to run Power Virtual Agents? And the short answer is no, you don't need it, but there are several benefits to leveraging and using the Common Data Service with Power Virtual Agents. One of the big features that you get is interconnectivity between all of the Power Platform tools. So by leveraging and using the Common Data Service, it allows me to very easily pass data back and forth between things like the Power Automate and Power Virtual Agents, and Power Automate and Power Apps and Power Automate, and as well as Power BI. So the Common Data Service serves as this great data source that easily covers all of the Power Platform tools. And so while it's not required to use the Common Data Service to utilize Power Virtual Agents, it certainly does give you many benefits to do that. So I certainly recommend considering at least using the Common Data Service, especially if you plan on using and leveraging multiple tools within inside the Power Platform. Another common question that we had was, how much does Power Virtual Agents cost? So we didn't really cover that topic in licensing within inside of our one-day session because we were really more focused on the how-to. And so I want to go ahead and share with you how you can determine how much Power Virtual Agents may cost for your organization. So let's take a look. So if we're looking at my screen here, you'll see that there is a section here that actually walks you through underneath the pricing section. They're pretty transparent with this. They don't hide pricing from you. But when you're on the Power Virtual Agents website, you'll be able to find the pricing. If you scroll down, you'll see that pricing is $1,000 for 2,000 sessions per tenant per month. Now, as you can see, that number could add up pretty quickly as each month is going to hit you $1,000. So you're looking at $12,000 for the year, assuming you're under 2,000 sessions. So you're definitely paying a little bit of a premium to be able to have the benefits of what Power Virtual Agents provides you. Remember, Power Virtual Agents' big benefit that you get as opposed to using just the regular Microsoft Bot Framework is that you're able to have the subject matter experts, or the citizen developer, be able to manage and run your Power Virtual Agents, as opposed to it being stuck with a data scientist or with a developer the whole time. So you're definitely paying a little bit of a premium for it being managed by your citizen developers rather than by a developer. So you can almost say that cost, that extra cost that you spend to do Power Virtual Agents, is definitely the difference in the cost that you would have had to have an expensive developer manage all the tasks that you would probably continually be adding into your chatbot if you went more the developer route to do the bot framework rather than Power Virtual Agents. All right, another common question that we had was, can Power Virtual Agents be integrated into Power BI? And the short answer is yes. It just depends on how you intend to do that. So, if you're interested in having, for example, a Power BI report and a chatbot right next to the Power BI report, yes, you can do that. The way you could do that is through Power BI Embedded. So, with Power BI Embedded, you can embed your Power BI reports and dashboards on a page that is a page that you've designed. And on that same page, you can also embed Power Virtual Agents next to it. So, you could, in theory, have both on the same page. Just you would have to have Power BI Embedded utilized, as well as the integration to embed your Power Virtual Agents on that page. That's one way you can utilize them. This is kind of a broad question. Can I have Power BI and Power Virtual Agents together is a broad question. So there's another way you could take that question. The other way you can consider that question is, could I actually integrate the data from Power Virtual Agents into Power BI? And the answer to that is also yes. The way you could do that is with Power Automate. So let's switch over for a moment and show you that. So if you're interested in combining the data and maybe the responses that you get from Power Virtual Agents into Power BI, you most certainly can do that, but it would be done with Power Automate. So Power Automate has the ability to use Power Virtual Agents as a trigger, which is what you're seeing here. This is a trigger up top. And when that trigger is initiated, which would be initiated from within inside of the topic conversation, you could then stream data if you wanted to into Power BI. So imagine I am having multiple chat conversations with customers, and I want to send the information from those chats to a streaming data set within inside Power BI. So I'm constantly getting updated data into a Power BI dashboard based on chat conversations that we're having in Power Virtual Agents. Well, you could do that using Power Automate and then adding in a new action to Power BI. So you'll see there is a Power BI action in here. There's multiple actions, but I could add something into like a streaming data set here to ensure that any new data that comes in, or I could actually take data or take information that comes from a Power Virtual Agents conversation and stream it into Power BI to be able to see how what kind of common trends perhaps that I'm seeing in my chatbot. So I could grab, for example, a variable that I create in Power Virtual Agents and then pass it into Power BI. So there's some nice integration that you could have here with inside Power BI. So again, multiple ways that these tools can be integrated together. Now, the next question that we had, that was a very common one, was, can I bring in data that's outside of the Common Data Service or outside of CDS? And the answer to that question is yes, you can leverage data that is not in CDS and still leverage it inside of the Power Virtual Agents. The way you can do that is a couple different ways. One, you can use Power Virtual Agent skills. And those Power Virtual Agent skills are what allow you to actually tap into different various APIs that you may have and pull in information and be able to give authentication steps to your users to be able to sign in to various different subsystems that you have. So Power Virtual Agent skills is one way you can do that, and authentication is another way you can do that. Or probably the more common way that you might do this is through Power Automate. So through Power Automate, you can pass in information from your chat conversations into systems like SQL Server and return that information back to Power Virtual Agents. And I just gave SQL Server as an example, but really any data source that you can connect into in Power Automate can now be used as a data set or a data source that can be tapped into in Power Virtual Agents. So you're going to see a lot of interworking between Power Automate with Power Virtual Agents. So yes, there is some capability to be able to tie these things together. And then the last common question that I'm going to share with you today that we had was around Microsoft certifications. And the question that we had was, is there or are there Microsoft certifications around Power Virtual Agents? And the short answer is yes, there are some certifications that do touch on Power Virtual Agents, but you're not going to find a certification that is specific to Power Virtual Agents. And the reason for this is Microsoft has changed their certifications over time, really within the last year to year and a half, to rather than focus on a certain technology, to now focus on different roles. So you're going to have a role if you're a Power Platform Specialist. You'll see that you're not going to have a certification that's just specifically on that one technology, but moreover, it's going to be focused on how you would engage as a work role on those different topics. And so there is a certification that does touch on Power Virtual Agents. It's the PL900. That's the Power Platform Fundamentals exam, and I'm going to show you that here on my screen. You'll see that there is a certification right here called, again, the PL900, the Microsoft Power Platform Fundamentals Test. And this one does touch on Power Virtual Agents. You'll see it's not the biggest topic. It's definitely one of the smaller topics inside this certification, but it does give you some information, or it does test you on your skills inside the Power Virtual Agents. But really, the overarching thing here is the Power Platform. So if you're going to take this test, you should not only be prepared to understand and answer questions on Power Virtual Agents, but also Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI as well. So it's on the entirety of those different systems inside of the Power Platform. So a lot of different questions that we had. Those were some of the top questions that we saw over and over within the class. I hope this was helpful to you as you continue to study on Power Virtual Agents. And of course, if there's any additional help that we can provide to you, whether it be additional training or services inside Power Virtual Agents, or maybe the overarching Power Platform, let us know. We'd love to connect with you to see how we might be able to train your team on your continuing efforts within the Power Platform. Thank you so much for watching today, and we look forward to chatting with you soon in the future about how we might be able to help you. Thanks a lot.